David, I suppose maybe we start with yesterday's news, which I think people seem to think was a surprise but not a shock, that the departure of Marc Canham. How did you find out about it, or how long have you known that he was going to leave?
Yeah, look, Marc recently took a bit of time. He went on leave with his family, and he came back probably about 2 weeks ago, where he started to give me an insight into where his head might be at. But formally, it only came to the fore on Monday, to be honest, when we received his letter of resignation. So, disappointing, obviously, and I want to take the opportunity to thank Marc for all of his efforts over the last, touching on 3 years. He's laid some really strong foundations in collaboration with the football leadership team here, where they took extensive time to, I suppose, consult with our community to understand what the future of Irish football should look like, and the output of that is our Football Pathways Plan, which I think is a fantastic piece of work that we're absolutely committed to delivering over the next 12 years. So
his departure then, I suppose, did seem a little bit sudden and abrupt, because he had been outlining his plans to the media just a few short weeks ago.
Yes, but that's part of an ongoing engagement. As you know, we're here today because it's the spirit of how we want the association to engage with the media in our community, to make sure that they understand how we're putting every decision and putting the community at the centre of every decision we make. But yeah, things change, and obviously Marc had a period of reflection about what was important for him and his family, and obviously he's taken the decision on personal reasons, and that's something that I and the board respect, and we wish him the very best for the future.
So it was all personal reasons largely, was it? As you know, there was various controversies about managerial appointments, about how certain things were handled, Conall Healy, the Pathways Plan itself. Did that play into his decision? No,
look, I think obviously Marc has found himself at the centre of certain commentary over recent years. That comes with the territory. The reality is, those of us that have the privilege of working in, I suppose, quite public roles in Irish sport need to have broad shoulders, because when you're bringing about change in an industry or in a sport that people are passionate about, there's going to be opinions that will enter into the fray. So that's quite natural, and I think Marc has handled it well over the years, but as said, for his own reasons, he's decided to step away, and we respect that.
So I suppose the big question is now, what now for the Football Pathways Plan? Are you fully behind the plan as he has left it?
100%. I think credit to Marc and the football leadership team, how they've approached this. The Football Pathways Plan is a plan for the game, the whole game. And it was born out of 16,000 hours of consultation with our community to understand what were the challenges that were facing Irish football, what was holding us back from realising our full potential. And that is where the 11 objectives have been born out of. And we have a very clear vision now for what we need to do to address those challenges. And that's over 3 phases, over 12 years. And that's something that the executive, the board, and our General Assembly are fully behind, and we're fully supportive of.
Do you think there is full support for it in general? We've heard about division, about fracture. Is there in Irish football, is there full support for the plan?
There's many aspects to it, so there's 11 different objectives that come out of it. I think where you're alluding to is the aligned calendar, which for the benefit of your viewers is the introduction of an aligned registration window. We are the only federation of the 55 in UEFA that do not have an aligned registration window. That inhibits our ability to have an aligned pathway and pyramid, and this is something that, after extensive consultation, has come forward again as something that's positive for the game. The board had the ability to introduce this change arbitrarily. They elected not to do that because we want to make sure that we recognise the voices within our community. So we took it to our General Assembly in December for a vote, and it passed. And therefore, that was a democratic process, and we now have the mandate to deliver on this positive change. And yes, there are some that still have apprehension about it, and that's natural. But we're committed to working with them and helping them to transition through. There's already 1/3 of the leagues in this country have historically been playing calendar football. 1/3 are already committed to transitioning to it, and the other third are still on the journey with us. But we are absolutely committed to working with them and helping them to see the true benefits of it, and also reassuring them that there is some autonomy within what we've outlined. We're not mandating that they have to play June, July, August. They still have the ability of choice within those summer months to elect to suspend the league for a period if there's local reasons, or to deliver different formats to the game. Ultimately, we all want the same thing, and this is about bringing in more opportunities to play football, more opportunities to play in different formats, and more opportunities to align the pathway.
So what are the next immediate steps now in the short term, and then maybe a little bit more further ahead?
So we recognise it's a big change. So we propose it will be a 3-phase introduction over 3 years. So we're actively engaging with each and every league at the moment on how that will look, and it starts with the underage and moves up through the age gradients. So that will start to take effect at the back end of this year. But we're also in a phase of communicating and educating people about the positives of this change. We obviously did a round of media last week where our Director of Grassroots Football, Ger McDermott, allayed some of those concerns and maybe corrected some of the misunderstandings that may have come from certain factions of the game. We are also in Kildare Street next week with a cross-party briefing for government ministers to make sure that they're fully aware that as the national governing body, this is something that we arrived at not arbitrarily, that it came from feedback from our community, and that we have a formal mandate to go and deliver it, and we see the benefits of it, and we want to share that with everyone.
In terms of that trip to see government ministers, funding, as always, is central to everything, is it? And trying to resource Irish football properly. What are the plans to increase that funding and get what you need?
Yeah, look, government have a huge part to play in all sport in Ireland, and we're grateful as the FAI for the support they've shown us in recent years. Really, our attention is now focusing on a couple of particular areas. One is around facilities, which has been widely communicated. We launched our facilities vision maybe 18 months ago, and I'm delighted to see that it's already bearing fruit. We had a record year of investment last year with 112 million of government funding committed to our game, and that's across grassroots and League of Ireland. So we're already starting to see that plan bear fruit, and I think credit needs to go to government that they have listened to our call for action and they've recognised the need for investment. That will continue, but most notably right now our focus is on League of Ireland academies, which I think has also been widely reported on as being an area of chronic need for investment. We have an investment proposal that we've put forward to the government, and I think we made great progress on that last year, demonstrated by its inclusion in the programme for government. And I've been delighted to engage with Minister O'Donovan and Minister McConalogue, who we've had a really proactive start to their tenure in bringing them on the journey with us, because obviously we need to bring them up to speed to where we're at, but also collaborate with them to make sure that they can see the value of this investment. It is not a handout. This is an investment as a kickstart to an industry. Football is the global game. We are a small island nation, but we have so much more to offer, and we've lagged behind for decades. But now's the opportunity for us to actually seize that moment with the benefit of government support to generate a self-sustaining industry that will deliver value for the economy, the exchequer, our clubs, our local communities who will see the benefits of it, but also our international teams who ultimately our future success will be driven by the talent that we're able to generate from our shores.
Just in terms then of Marc Canham spoke in the statement yesterday about a transition period, and you will help ease it for the next person coming in. What is that process going to be like? How long will that take, do you think?
We will do it as swiftly as we can. So we are immediately firing up a search for the long-term successor. In the interim, we'll be looking at an in-house solution to ensure that we've got continuity. And thank you to Marc for his commitment to supporting that transition. So I'm not going to put timelines on it, as you can appreciate, but we will do it as swiftly as we can and make sure that we get the right candidate to lead Irish football forward and deliver on our Football Pathways plan.
How far and wide will you spread the net? Should it be for somebody inside Irish football, outside Irish football?
Look, I think there's been a lot of debate on this, understandably. We've got amazing talent within the Irish football community, and I hope and suspect a lot will come forward. But equally, I'm not going to restrict it solely to that. My overriding objective is to identify the best person to take Irish football forward and realise its full potential. If that person presents from within our community, amazing, fantastic. But equally, I'm not going to close off other opportunities.